library asked that if we in the library here, if we could help put on a mask, just in case to protect everyone for safety purposes. So I wanted to emphasize about the expectations and the guidelines, what's going to happen tonight, so that everybody will be in the same page, so that we know what we needed to do, we know what our expectations are, so that mayors and the police chief. This space meant for productive conversation. If you are here to support #Justice for Xiong, we ask that you do not take up the space in front of folks who wanted to engage in productive conversation. If you are here disrupted and make this space unsafe for all the folks present, we are asked that if you could leave or will be escorted out of this building. We want to hear from all of you and will open a public hearing to collect your thoughts and comments. The public hearing will stay open until 8:05, but we will keep it open as long as we need it to. Our programs will end at 8:30. Media covers. Snowden heard for our press inquiry only accepted media inquiry at the beginning of the event. So if you are here, from our medias, Snowden, can I have where are you? So that's just okay. So this is our chair for community justice for year. So for media, if any one of you wanted to have any questions you want to ask, this is the person to go to.
I am the executive director here at the Eastside Freedom Library. But before I move on, I want to show my deep condolence to the family of Xiong for the tragedy that happened. And thank you all for being here. So the Eastside Freedom Library is an independent nonprofit library. We hold space like this for community as a safe space, a space for organizing. We are partnering with the Hmong archives here at the Eastside Freedom Library. Their collections right here. Brian Xiong back there is the chair of the Hmong archives, an independent nonprofit located here with us as well. And so again, welcome to this space, and I hope that the conversations that do happen today will produce some tangible outcomes regarding police reforms, and also opportunities to really talk about some mental health needs and support that the city as well as the state of Minnesota can support us. And thank you for the organizers, particularly city council member Nelson Yang right here for being a leader in organizing, one of the leaders in organizing this conversation today, and thank you.
Nó là bùi mới chủ mong của giờ xong tổ bỏ chịu hai chỗ bé chủ mong mò sang cực cầu này họ nó giờ tay mày mong hóa cho bùi nó bây giờ lên bé cho bùi hai xua tụ nó mấy giờ mong bé giờ mong cũng mà bé giờ mong mẹ mà bé sĩ bé trắng trẻ nó mà cho rồi sĩ u nó cho bé cho America xua tụ nó giờ bùi bé mong này giờ bỏ ở giờ nó nào bùi tôi là gì bé giờ mong giờ tụ tua tham mong này giờ lên nó học trong bây giờ cái gì mong có bao ta bây giờ chú cho nên cho America bây giờ chú CIA cho sức khỏe cũng chú ba mang nó ta I somebody years old I worked in America in Laos in 1961 to 1973-75 giờ lên nó học trong này cho America bao ta why bây giờ tôi chú lúc đi chơi nó bây một bây giờ cho một bộ lúc đi chơi bro tàu chẳng không lấy cho Việt Nam nữa đấy họ nói là tên mày mong giờ nó bên trên trái tổ bên trên tổ nhà lúc đấy chờ America lúc đấy chờ nó bên trên tổ bên trả tổ tổ bên tổ chủ là giờ bên mấy trăm tiền nên cho mong America nó hụt bùi tổ mong bên trăm càng gì bên giờ mong cho mình mong tổ bớt chết ta bên trăm tiền thì giờ lúc này mong trăm tiền à ý là cố hà cho bên giờ mong xóa tổ mấy giờ bắt thằng sẻ này mấy tôi bây giờ tụi nhau không nó the mong president mong là mong ya một chỗ tụ mong thọ một chỗ president là em mấy lúc có gì xảy nó từ ha why is it council how many okay nó bé yêu chủ siêu luôn giờ bé chỉ siêu luôn mong cũng lúc này là mong tụi bây giờ tụi nhau mình tập mà bị mẹ bởi vì bao tụ nothing nó từ bao tuần tàu tụ bao tuần chẳng có bao chẳng跑做得了nó chỉ bé cho mong siêu luôn chỉ chọn giờ nên nó hạt cho mong nó mong yêu chủ bao là bé ít chế này mà chờ ta bé ba America thọ bé tao chủ America lúc tí chờ bé ôn nọ chứ tao tụi mình cho lòng ôn nọ chứ nó nè giờ này nó ba má tao thằng cô nè chứ cái này cha bé yêu chủ siêu luôn chủ kế trong chủ bé nhỏ chỉ sao lại cái nó giờ này mong tuổi tụ là ôi giờ mẹ mà được khác mà tôi chỉ thấy bỏ này nó chả luôn không nó giờ thấy mày mong giờ là cũng rồi xa tàn nó bên chỗ còn rồi bây giờ mong I not speak English. I speak more because the old man, yeah, the old man, woman not speak English and the twins. Mấy cháu có mẹ là sao nó đó thứ chẳng đâu, một chỗ mẹ cháu nó mẹ xin lúc rồi, bé xin lúc rồi, bây giờ tao con mong ô chồng.
Thank you for being here today. My name is Nicolazzi, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of my Xiong family. I am the daughter of Xiong, brother of Xiong. He, my uncle, was the last surviving brother to my dad. My family is heartbroken and grief-stricken. Some of us are still unable to process what happened that night when we lost our uncle, Xiong. Ye's life was unjustly taken by St. Paul police officers Hiu Shu-cha and Abdi Rahman Dadir. There are also officers present at the scene, 3 who identified as Hmong, whose body camera footage has not yet been released. I'm here today to demand change in how the St. Paul Police Department trains its officer in a crisis. What happened to my uncle should never happen to anyone else. It's baffling that people would even question the excessive use of force that police use every day. Our society glorifies the police in ways that blind people to think they're protected. How is it that police that is supposed to serve the citizens of St. Paul not know their own community? How is that they didn't know low-income seniors, disabled individuals who live at Winslow Commons? How is it that when they charged in with guns ablaze, they did not see that calmly standing and was speaking to an individual within 10 feet of another, causing no threat or harm to either one of them? Why didn't they correctly assess the situation? Why didn't they let him retreat into his apartment? Why didn't they de-escalate the situation? Why wasn't a mental crisis team called? And why weren't a less lethal weapon used in a time of crisis? We want answers. And why do Hmong, Black and Brown, and other people that look like you and me continue to die unjustly by the excessive use of force that the police use daily on our people? My uncle died a brutal death at the hands of St. Paul Police Department in less than 2 minutes. In less than is my speech tonight. My uncle, Xiong, should still be alive today. The media and St. Paul Police Department painted my uncle like he was a dangerous man, but in truth he was kind, warm, gentle, and he loved his grandchildren immensely. He was an elder, a part of our home community, a disabled, hard of hearing, secret war veteran. My family and I seek justice for Xiong and demand a police reform. And this is a moment for Mayor Melvin Carter and Police Chief Axel Henry to truly step up and create the healing process, not only for my family, but all families whose lives have been affected by excessive force and police brutality.
係自由咗。 Bếp mua cho nhất đầu Minnesota xử lý cho chuyện nâng tàu trả là một cho cái tu kiến sự của nhà chúng dân như nào. Bếp mua xử lý community dễ dàng cho cái là một tàu trả của nhà thổ bếp bỏ hay thì tu kiến sự của là cho cái. Nhưng mà có đầu nó chỉ là chờ cái dễ dàng sự cái chờ cái tụ chúng trong của nhà mấy được khó được. Cái những chờ tụ thơ tu kiến sự của nhà Henry Axel. Cái một cho lục tỷ chủ xã còn gỡ là một chỉ kho cái cho chẳng cho chạy nhau cho họ tu kiến sự. Cái những việc thọ lấy một cái tỷ chủ thọ cái thật cho đi men luôn mong một cái tỷ chủ còn mấy được khó được. Thiết thơ tu kiến sự Henry gỡ là một tí dòng trong phối xùa hay cho cái gì tàu ta sẽ nên nào còn gì tàu giải cho cái dân dân mà nó phải chờ này sự được tua giờ giống một căn gì tí nâng là căn gì nâng vấn đề chế nâng tàu lại ít nâng này luôn tàu gì cho tới mà dòng ý dạng rồi gì gì ta nào em phải nói gì cho này sự được lọt thả mình chỉ lâu cho rồi này cho cái gì先gì rồi hay thì cho cái gì lúc nâng trong nó mà sẽ lúc rồi bông cung mà bỏ đi chả cái bùi cho chuẩn gì cho nếu sĩ của tụi nó chế lưu trong xã America và mình phải đồ hả
Good evening, everybody. I'm Xiong, and I'm the council member in St. Paul Ward 6. So this right here is Ward 6 where I represent, and I want to welcome you to the east side of St. Paul. I am the first Hmong American woman and also the youngest person elected to the St. Paul City Council. It is an honor to be here with all of you today. However, I wish that we were all here under better circumstances. We are here because Xiong, a Civil War veteran and an elder in our community, a community member was killed unjustly by St. Paul police officers. And I am here because I am furious. How many of you are furious too?
Yes, that's right. Furious.
I am so grateful to Xiong's family members that after you have gone through such a traumatic experience that you have lost your loved ones, you are moving forward with courage to fight and make sure that no one has to go through this again. And all of us know that what happened to Ye was not in isolation. It is something that has happened over and over and over again. And I know we have so many people in this room who have fought against police brutality for decades, for years and years, and we are still keeping up the fight because we will not fight until we get justice. Are you there with me?
That's right. Yeah.
So today, along with Xiong's family members, we also have an amazing community coalition that has come together to also fight alongside the family and fight for all lives that have been lost by the police. We have Black Lives Matter Minnesota. Let me hear you all make some noise for them. Families supporting families against police brutality. Communities united against police brutality. We also have my council office, along with Councilmember Mitra Jalali, who represents Ward 4, and Councilmember Russell Ballinger, who represents Ward 1, who is a part of the coalition too. Let's also give them a clap. Because we know we have this coalition because we cannot fight this alone. It is going to take all of us. And for those of you who are part of an organization, a nonprofit, an activist group, I welcome you to be a part of our coalition. You can contact one of our organizers to let us know that we can officially sign you on. And the purpose of today's meeting is to really hear from all of you, especially relatives of victims who have experienced police brutality, to hear from community members, leaders just like you, for you to share your story with all of us, and to talk about what police reform looks like to you, what police accountability looks like to you. Because after this, community organizers will be consolidating all of that information, putting together a slate of community recommendations, and delivering it directly to St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter and also our St. Paul Police Chief, Axel Henry. And we will demand and we will continue to fight until we get justice. So your truth deserves to be heard today, and the truth should inform total policy and systems change. And for that reason, you will see that we have elected officials, candidates in the room tonight. And for those of you who do have that hat on, I ask that you stay in the back of the room so that we can prioritize chairs for our community members and families who have experienced so much loss in their lives. So thank you everyone for being here.
Our next guest speaker, she is from the Community Unites Against Police Brutality. I welcome Michelle Gross.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so pleased to see so many people from our community here. We've got a packed room, and that's really, really good because that's what we actually need. We need everybody to come forward and step up to help this family and to help the community. Most people do not realize that the St. Paul Police is actually the deadliest police department in the state. 45 people have lost their lives to the St. Paul Police Department since the year 2000. Did you know that? 45 people. You probably haven't heard most of the names, but we still stand with all of those families because we cannot allow this to continue. Mr. Xiong shouldn't have died. He was in a situation where he had an edged weapon. But the reality is that the defense for an edged weapon is distance and barriers. He was going in his house. He was closing the door. He was far from the police, far enough that had they let him simply close the door, he would have survived. The police chose to close the distance and remove the barrier. And because they did that, they then used the position of putting themselves into peril as the excuse to justify what they did to him, and that is so wrong. We cannot allow this to continue. There are solutions, and I'm so happy that we have public officials here to hear some of this. It's especially important. Nelsie Yang has played an amazing role in this community, this coalition. She's played an amazing role doing this organizing. And other city council members are here. But where's the police chief? Where's the mayor? When are they going to accept responsibility for what their police do? It's so important that we demand actual solutions and not just, here's another case where we yell for justice and justice doesn't happen. This is not acceptable. We cannot allow this to continue. On the table here in the front, we have put a list, a summary of our demands related to police reforms. We have a more filled out report on our website of these police reforms. There are solutions. There are solutions. We have to demand the political will for those solutions to be adopted. And that's the problem. There hasn't been a political will to adopt those solutions. And until we have that political will, we will have unqualified St. Paul police going to a Hmong elder's home who didn't hear and couldn't speak the language. And basically doing whatever they did, closing up that gap and killing this man who should never have been killed. There were 100 things they could have done differently and better that day, and then Xiong would be with us still. And they didn't choose to do them. We can't accept that. That is not an acceptable solution. So we've got to keep pushing, we've got to keep fighting, we've got to create the political will to make it clear that we are not going to accept the kind of policing that we have now. Again, this is the policing where the St. Paul Police Department is the deadliest department in the state. And by the way, they're the 19th deadliest in the country. Did you know that? That's what the statistics tell us, and it's an appalling situation. We should not tolerate it for any reason. There are solutions. We have to push for those solutions. And so I stand with you today. I'm very proud to stand with the community and to bring all of our resources and knowledge that we can bring to the table to help. But we want to see a solution.
Yes.
I did not feel it. Did you guys hear the message? Thank you. Well, thank you for the three of you, all three guest speakers for sharing that message to us. Next, we're going to shift to what we're here for. Here are some of the talking points that I wanted to emphasize so that you know when you're coming to the microphone. We will have one microphone to the left here and then one microphone to the right. So those of you on my left side, when it's your turn, you can come up to the microphone on your left. Those on my right side, when you're ready, you can come up to the microphone on my right side. Because of the attendees that we have tonight, we want to make sure that we respect every single one of you times and efforts, opinions and thoughts. We want to make sure that we have all of that. So each person will limit it to 2.5 minutes. And I have a timekeeper, Mike, which is over here. Mike will give you a notice of a yellow sheet of paper. That means your time is coming to an end. When you see the red, meaning that your time is up. So that is just to help you so that you can be able to wrap up your thoughts and opinions so that we can be able to collect all of that, all of your thoughts and information. So when you speak, please keep your thoughts, please keep your remarks. Did you feel violent? What police reform would you like to see the St. Paul Police Department to undergo? So for now, I'm ahead of myself. So next is just the what are we here for to
And thank you for tonight's meeting. My name is Xiong. Thank you for coming, Black Lives Matter, and Hmong communities, and Hmong community leaders. I am long-time community activist and human rights activist. One of the questions tonight, how do we feel about our brother here being murdered? I am terrified. My heart was broken. I'm feared. I'm feared because police department. I'm feared because when we came to this country, because of the war, and we lost hope, and we are terrified because the communists. No more people come to this country for a reason. I feel that my family is no longer safe in our hometown, in our community, and we have no trust for our police department. So today or tonight, I would like to call the Hmong community in the Twin City. I understand we have a large Hmong community in the Twin City. I'm talking about 100,000, okay? And I would like to call all the Hmong brothers and sisters in the Twin City. We need you the most at this time. Hmong 18 Council is playing a major role for a Hmong family in the Twin City. Where are you? I'm calling you. The Hmong community are calling you right now. So please come to help us. And yes, I will be one, will be here, will assist whatever I can to help you. That's all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Audio.
Okay. I'd really like to thank the community, Councilwoman Nancy Yang and President Kong and many other and Black Lives Matter to organize this event. State Senator from Perth, for those who doesn't know, this is my part of my district. You know, the borderline doesn't tells it all. There's no borderline here, even though I'm elected from people about 1 block from here. I represent the diversity here. I just want to say that I'm in solidarity with all of you, and not just me. This year alone, we are elected to the Senate and to the House a total of 10 legislators. 9 of them are Hmong descent, 1 are Japanese descent, and we form a MAP caucus in Minnesota Pacific Islander. caucus, and we are in solidarity with you. I just want to announce that. We affirm with you, so our office is open, and we're going to look this issue through and through, as well as looking at policy, tighten our policy. Now that we are trifecta and democratic control, we're going to make sure that our policy, yes, in terms of police reform, are tightened up. So I'm just going to be short, and I will join you on the rally on Sunday, and also my fellow legislator, Senator Susan Pa, Senator Xiong, Senator Jay Xiong, the whole list. We're going 10 now, so just want to let you know that we're all with you. Okay, thank you. I want to thank you, Northern her as well. Sorry.
My name is Yang Wang Pao. My father was the late General Wang Pao, and I know if my father was alive today, he would be so heartbroken. And as I watched the video, and doing my campaign last year, talking to a lot of our Hmong community out there, we have a lot of elders that do not understand English. And I understand about, the police and what's considered weapon, and that's one thing that I'd like to see change. And I know if my father was alive, he'd be here, leading this rally for our Hmong community, and not just that, but our minority community here in the United States of America. We need to change what is considered, lethal weapon, and how to deal with elders. And these are elders that have hard of hearing. These are elders that cannot see. These are elders that do not have a very good understanding of English. And there's so many different ways that I believe that, can escalate the situation. I saw an officer with a stunt gun, and I think there's more training that needs to be done in the police department, because we came here 40 years ago, so that means a lot of our populations are getting old. And that's a concern if this is something that can happen to our community. And I'd like to, represent my family and be in support of the Hmong community and make some changes for us. Thank you.
The families, and to all the families who have lost loved ones by the police, whether it's St. Paul, Minneapolis, Minnesota, anywhere. My name is Mourning Johnson. I'm sorry, I'm emotional. I'm the mother of Howard Johnson, who was killed by the St. Paul police December 5th. I agree with the lady that was just speaking. Police need more training. They need to have mental health professionals. They need to, a taser. So somebody has a knife, right? Why is the gun the first thing that they go to? They have tasers, why not tase them? Tase them first. They need to, I'm sorry, I'm so emotional. My son was 24 years old. He was robbed of his life. He was ran over by a police car before he was shot. They could have tased him. They could have done multiple things. As far as all these families are concerned, there's so many other things that they could have went to instead of picking up a gun and killing people, because police are supposed to be here to protect and serve, right? They shoot to maim. They don't shoot to kill. These police officers are shooting to kill. They are killing us and could give two fucks about it. Excuse my language, but it's the truth. And then the transparency, they talk about transparency. I have gotten nothing from them. Nothing as far as my son is concerned. And it's sickening. He left behind two twin boys that are going to grow up without a father. And when I look at them, that's all I see. When I look at them, I see all the other babies that have been killed, and people that have been killed by the police that deserve to be living right now. Like, this is so unfair. Something needs to be done, and some changes need to be made. So we as a people need to come together. I don't care what nationality you are. We need to come together as a community, and we need to make change, because this is ridiculous.
Blessings, my beloved brothers and sisters. First off, I would like to say my deepest condolences to the family of your lost one. My name is Brother Narcy Nazir X. I'm the national president of the Line of Judah Armed Forces and also local chairman of the New Black Panther Nation here in Minnesota. I'm also a community activist as well. The reason why we're here today is because we provide security for the safety of all the people, okay? To make sure all of you guys are safe here today, all right? After watching the video on what took place with our beloved elder, you know, whether he had a sword or a knife or whatever they try to say he may have, Clearly, he was walking back to his apartment building. And as he got back to the door of his apartment building, he took the keys out of his pocket and opened the door of his apartment building and went inside of his apartment building and closed the door. Where is the threat?
There's no more threat there.
There ain't no threat.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
There is no threat. He's inside of his apartment building with the door closed. There is no more threat. And then not only that, you had one police officer who pulled out a taser, then you had another police officer who pulled out his gun. These are trigger, finger, racist, dang on police, Aboriginal people and people of color and all nations of people every day in our community. And brothers and sisters, and I'm calling you brothers and sisters because we are all one and we're stronger together.
That's right.
Unity is power.
Amen.
Unity is power. This is what they fear right here. Is unity. And we will stand with the family until you receive the justice that you deserve. Because that beloved elder does not deserve to have his life taken the way that it was when he was behind the closed door. And then you break into his door, and as he comes out of the apartment building, then you shoot him dead. Because they don't care about the life of none of us. So police reform is what needs to take place. Police reform is what needs to take place. And Mayor Carter and Governor Watts, they need to speak up about what's taking place and make this evil, demonic, wicked police officer be charged and convicted for the murder that he just done to this beloved elder. Thank you.
My name is Amity Dimmick. I am the mother of Kobe Dimmick Eisler, who was murdered by Brooklyn Center Police August 31st, 2019. He was autistic. He was having a mental health crisis. In my son's situation, same thing, could have easily been handled differently. Police could have left when they got there because everything was fine. The call had been reversed. But even since they didn't do that, tasing and shooting a child who was simply trying to leave a situation because he wasn't under arrest. I am here to let the people of St. Paul know that when what happened to my son happened, I lived in northern Minnesota. I have relocated specifically to St. Paul, right near the Capitol, so that I can do what we can do to change what's happening with police and what they're doing to our community. And I'm hoping that we can figure out how to all come together and start hitting this at a state level while we have the trifecta. Because as I say, in Brooklyn Center, where they passed the Dante Wright and Kobe Dimmick Eisler Community Safety and Crime Prevention Resolution, where we're overdoing the expanded response networks for mental health and stopping the low-level traffic violations that we know they discriminate on. What I realized is I don't want to make it safe just in Brooklyn Center, right? I don't want us dealing with different cities where you're safe in one city, but you cross an imaginary border and now you're not safe. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but while we have the trifecta, everybody, all of us who do this, we need to come together and start passing stuff at state and federal levels. I am so sorry for the family, and I stand with you. I'm not sure where you guys are, but whatever I can do to help you, please let me know.
How about the timing, that's all? Go ahead.
My name is Emilia Rodriguez, and I have worked with the immigrant population of Latinos for many, many years. And certainly in my work with them, I've heard endless stories about how the Latinos were there, the immigrants, the Spanish-speaking, and also they were being perhaps burglarized or robbed or beaten by other people. And when the police arrived, there was absolutely no understanding, no mercy for the Latinos. And the police inevitably always took the story of what were really the criminals. And these Latinos were in my office for mental health treatment. So I know that it's absolutely necessary to have as many people who speak the language, because you are totally at the mercy, as with the police force, to have as many as possible. I do want to say, some of my Caucasian friends and I myself have been stopped many times by police officers, and they have used excessive force or had a chip on their shoulder, to be frank, even against Caucasians in times. And so I want to say that, first of all, my condolences to the family for your tragic loss. And I want to say that I think the police need to be trained to use appropriate levels of force. And someone who has a knife, and I don't know the full story, but it was tragic enough for me to want to come out anyway, who has a knife, that they are not a threat to anyone's life, and certainly much lesser measures could have been used. As has been mentioned many times, a taser could have been used, or also, of course, you shoot their arm if they're afraid they're going to shoot that knife at you, but you don't kill somebody for that. And so certainly, it's a hard job being a policeman. I will never deny that. On the other hand, they have to be trained, because I know from my own training that many police officers, they were former bullies, and they like to kind of beat on people, but now they can do it legally. And I'm glad that somebody has it in them when appropriate to hold down the aggressor, because I know I don't want to do it. But on the other hand, it is not appropriate for a man to be shot for holding a knife when there was so many far lesser measures that could have been done. And of course that we need to have people, police force that speak both languages and can do it appropriately. Thank you. But the Latinos too.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your yourself. Can I ask somebody to understand?
My personal experience with the police, I'm no criminal, I'm no bad guy, but personally I have proof that when police pull you over, they escalate things. One time I was pulled over, they escalate, they say I was drinking, and I don't drink. I look like I drink, but I don't drink. And they said I was drunk. I was never drunk. I blew. I did not want to blow because I didn't trust them no more. So they took me in, towed my vehicle, and then when I got to the police station, I finally blew. I blew 00000, and then they had to say sorry to me and took me home. That was one time. And the other time, I was driving. They pulled me over saying that I'm a drug dealer, and they were detaining me, and then I let them detain me, and then they checked my vehicle, nothing happened, and I told them that if I was a bad guy, how come they did not check me before they had me sitting next to them? I would have had them if I had a gun or something, because he never checked me. So that's proof. I have 2 papers to prove that. That's how they did me, and they escalate things. And me, I look like I'm the bad guy, you know? I have the young look and all that stuff. So of course, cops, they'll grab you and hustle you and try to push you around, but at least under pressure, I talk good, and I'm still nice to them. I still talk good to them, okay? I think the police in general, they need a lot of stress training, which they're not used to. Some of these police, they come in as cadets, meaning they have a 2-year degree, 4-year degree, and they just come and go do police training, and now they're a cop. We can't put our lives trust into something like that when they don't have no stress training. They need stress training, huge stress training. I believe that Uncle, he will be my uncle, okay, through my uncle marrying his sister, okay? So I know the family, we've always followed each other, and I just want to say thank you, but those are my 2 experiences with the police, and they want to push me to be a criminal, but at least I handle well under pressure. Then.
Told me, you probably never seen me before. My name is Junior Wu. The brother of Xiong, who was another victim to police brutality back in 2019. It is very unfortunate that here we are again, brothers and sisters. When are we going to wake up? When are we going to realize that this is a heartbreaking? I am beyond terrified. No offense. I am beyond scared. I have vengeance. I'm angry. Okay? That is how I really feel. First of all, thank you to the organizer, our selected official, community leaders, brothers and sisters, Black Lives Matter, and Black Panther show support to our community. Much appreciated. And my biggest condolence go to the immediate family. I know how you feel. I was there. I still here. I know how that feels. And here's my message to Mayor and the Chief of Police of St. Paul. Show us the protocol, the procedure of how you deal with crisis. Show us, we demand that. I demand that. How is this not a problem? When an elderly man, 65 years old, living by himself in a senior care facility, you barge in, kick in the door, provoke the guy to come out and shoot him. I demand that they give us the protocol, the procedures on that. If that is the case that they do in every situation, let's go back in records. Let's go back in history. How many people did they pursue and they did not kill? In the city of St. Paul alone. Let's see it. Prove it. Let's be transparency. Okay? This continue to be a cascade of oppression. Continue to be a cascade of police brutality. Thank you for uniting tonight. The work is not done. It is a steep hill. It's very slippery, very rainy, and there's a big elephant in the way.
I'm really young. I'm just a kid here, and
The microphone a little bit to your left. No, the pole. Yeah, so just stand to the side so people can see you.
Thank you. I'm just a kid here, and my family always grew up telling me to keep my head down and to be a good girl, so that so that nothing bad happens to me. And I never really understood why. As I've gotten older and I got a job, I was raised to be like I wasn't educated. And I didn't understand why. And my family told me, just laugh it off. Don't take it personally. Do a good job and be a good girl. When I had a family reunion at Unison, when I exited to get ready to go on the highway to go home, I immediately got pulled over. One officer, a male, came out and asked if I had been drinking, and I said I was just fine. And he told me to blow in to check my BAC, and he called for backup. Another car came with 2 other men, and I was by myself. And 3 tall men looked at me like I was a threat. Seeing the video of Xiong, I wanted to believe that our department is here for us and to protect us. But when I watched the video, I realized that our senior was prejudged to be a threat, like how I was prejudged to be a threat. And it's not only just our seniors that are facing Asian hate crimes, but it will also be me when I'm 62. And that's what I'm terrified about. And this cannot be a license or a certificate anymore. It should be a 4-year degree. It should be a long interpersonal, intercultural degree. Because I don't want to have to go through that again. Do I look like a threat?
And the law typically gives deference to those officers, but I want us as a community to think very critically about this because that law can be used against them. What they are judged on is their actions and the totality of the circumstances. Totality of the circumstances means everything that the officers knew at the time that they arrived to that building. We need to demand that they release the 911 call because that is not public information. And we need to know what exactly was in that 911 call and what those 2 officers knew when they arrived. Because visually watching that video, they came upon a crowd, an excited crowd that was worried, that was telling them to go into the building and please hurry. The crowd wanted help. But when they got in there, what did they see when they saw Hia? He was standing there calmly talking to somebody else. He was not a threat. I saw no knife in his hand. When the officers walked up, he calmly walked away down that hallway and they pursued him. They escalated him.
That's right. That's right.
So what we need to do is demand that 911 call. We need them to prove that their officers acted reasonably, because from what I saw, what we all saw, there was no reasonable action taken by those officers. There was no presence of training in those minds. They did not treat them like a human being. They didn't even treat them like I would see in,
Sự bị quyền mong nè. Cô tôi sẽ hay thì cho ta luôn nó mò bé tôi trong này trong chỉ tua bát chơi, tua này là tu đế sự, chỗ này nó chỗ chia tua bát chơi. Họ có xã hay thì họ tua nó vì giờ nó vậy tu nãy lúc cao hòa ba nó chui mình cả, hòa sẽ nhau tua họ hòa chỉ mình cho nhau rồi nhau là khẩu tê. Giờ này tôi nói tôi muốn chỉ là bé chơi nó mong cho mình cả đấy gì. Thế thì nó lấy chỗ cho chỗ đấy tua chia sự, họ nó có bé chỉ, và liên đó lấy tất cả tua thầu lấy tua giờ nó bây giờ lấy tua lấy nè lấy chỉ là chỉ giờ nó giấy tu sẽ đến sẽ chỉ vì chờ cho bé chơi nữa, mong chờ cho chơi này mình cả, và nó chỉ tua này để chỉ cho các là sau đó tới chơi mình cả nữa, giờ liên nó họ cũng bỏ, giờ lấy cho chỉ ra, cho ta luôn nó nhớ họ xã nó rồi họ police department nó đây có xong rồi cho ta luôn nó là mộtตัวที่นั่นnó lo do hay tiền này giờ khi sở kia lo do tiền tụ personal attitude lo do tụi những dạng chịu bự này cho tua thì thế là sĩ tụi sinh chạy cú một đi nó giờ này nó cú tổ chức thế.
My name is Maddie. Emma is my sister. Her and I were actually in the Police Explorers together in the Minneapolis Police Department. And then I continued on and I was a community service officer with Bloomington, Minnesota and Minneapolis. And I trained a lot with St. Paul as well. And I have about 10 years of experience if we want to do volunteer and working in the department. And what I learned is that I'm not the right kind of blue. They are training these officers to not be a part of our community. They are training these officers to be bullies. They are, training people to, excuse my language, but to get your bitch on. I remember I was 15 years old and I was asking please for a driver's license in a scenario. And the officer pulled me aside and he said, no, you can't ask please and thank you. You have to demand. And that's what these officers are training our community who's going in to try to make a difference. They want to demand. When I looked at the video, it looked like a scenario that I had been through once before. And unfortunately, they are training our officers to take their guns out when they see a knife. And that's how they're training. So if we want to talk about our training, we need to get into the reality of how they're training us. Because if they see a gun, if they see a knife, they're going to immediately take that out. And one of the main things that they train you is to go home at the end of the night to see your family. But they're not telling these officers to go home so all of the community can go home safe. Just them, to their families. And I think we need to really redirect how they're training that way. I also want to just point out the dispatch. The dispatch is very, very important because that's the first thing that our officers hear. So if they are hearing there is a gun, if they are hearing there is a knife, their level of how they're going to, level of stress, I guess is the best way to put it, that's going to go way, way up, right? They're going to come in and they're going to be aggressive and they're going to get their guns out. So how we train our dispatchers is very important too. Our dispatchers need to be able to make sure that they are getting the right information out because
I'll be honest, I don't think the police can be reformed, and I don't think we should have them in our community. Seriously, there's no reason why armed officers should be responding to any of the things police are called to respond for. And St. Paul already did a study on unarmed response and mental health responders. Why don't we have them? Why are we still spending $130 million on police every year and nothing on actually supporting people? We need healthcare, we need housing, and I think if we give people what they need, we don't need cops terrorizing us and terrorizing our city. I don't think cops are the answer. I think we have better answers and we need to start bringing those up. I think we keep focusing on abolition, decarceration, and forget.
Okay. You can pick up the microphone.
All right, cool. Hi, I'm Jerome. It's kind of nervous, but I'm the executive director of Minnesota Teen Activists. We're just like a young organized group. Oh, y'all know who we are? Okay. No, but I just want to say, like, this room is just really inspiring. I say that to say because when you look around, you see a lot of black people and you see a lot of Asian people. And when I think and I reminisce just on this, let me take this off for the photo so I look good. Okay, when I think and I reminisce, just like when we talk about like history and solidarity amongst black people and Asian people, like it's so deep and it's so enriched. We talk about Martin Luther King and how some of his best comrades were Asian folks fighting against, you know, Jim Crow. And we talk about the Vietnamese fishermen who were fighting against KKK in Louisiana. Just all this rich history, and I think we've come to a place in society where white supremacy has done so much to tear us apart as communities, as minorities. And so to look around and see a room full of Asian people, of the St. Paul community, full of black people, we have Black Panther, we have, you know, school board members, we have, you know, community members, families, regular day people, and it's just really inspiring. And so I just want to encourage you all to continue to work together as, you know, folks who are oftentimes oppressed and killed by police, because supremacy that's perpetuating this. It takes us to come in and say, we have to be the family members, we have to be the ones who stand up and get this. So at Minnesota Teen Activists, we are really working hard to come up and show spaces like these, to be sure to it that young people can help, you know, cultivate that, so we don't have tragedy like this. So I express my sincere condolences, and I just am so grateful.
Cú sáng lên nó cho cái tiếng tràn. Bé chú kêu anh nhau giờ cái giờ chờ lên nó giờ bé vừa nhau lên nó một tên mình bé mà ship bự lên nó bé mà lên một pin rồi lại nên rồi bé tụt sang ngang bảo lên nó mà bé vừa nhau chỉ tàu một chỗ nhau tạm tiền nữa tên rồi nó mỗi sự nó hết bé chủ tâm cái well prepare bé chủ một protection thọ từ một tên lên nó chỉ biết sao chỉ tao coi cho họ coi cho nó ta chỉ biết một tên mình nó chỉ biết mua Xiong chỉ biết Xiong có thể thọ từ cái tiết luôn những họ cho ta luôn này nó mà biết vấn đề lên nó nhỏ cho biết nói cho cái gì ha của hãy lựa cho biết cho cái này chàng để khó xử trên trong nó chỉ là xử trên chỉ kiến cho bé chơi mông, ta chỉ nhớ ít khó xử trên quân chủ, ít khó xử trên chủ sa cho bé chơi mông, mà để khó tới mình của nó mà cố sáng ta bé tàu hạ trời chạy đâu rồi, bé cho hạ trời cái chỉ sa cái bọt tờ hình, vì cho ta lúc đấy cho nó lo chịu ổn định trời cái chỉ sa cái bọt tờ lúc đấy cho nó lo ổn định trời kế sẽ cùng tê ha trời chủ chạy biết tao hạt chạy ha kế nên nó sẽ được ok này đầu rồi lên đây cú cho hạ ôn anh chỉ cho dọc
A quick message in English.
Yeah, this is what I'm gonna do in English. Thank you for the government of the United States. Thank you for the freedom of democracy. Thank you for the freedom of U.S. citizens. Thank you for the freedom of express, but not the killing and not the shooting. Mr. Xiong appeared to be gone by police shooting, but his voice remained active. And not alone, he is many, and not only in Minnesota, but will be around the world. Policemen, we, the voice of the people, and the voice of Xiong, and the voice of many citizens, the voice of citizens. Want to let you know and want to tell you that life are more than duty. Again, life are more than duty. That's why every one of us and all of us, the taxpayer, share a portion of the tax to be your salary to secure the life of the people, not the killing.
More life matter. More life matter. cú anh đủ cho mong của lâu tao dễ nên có lúc xong cho mong của lâu nếu mà disability chỉ nói luôn chỉ bao luôn chỉ dù đã chỉ police một tua cho nên trong lên nó lo họ nói giờ wrong doing from the police có chỉ giờ là police tu nói giờ yo chỉ tôi ba cho nên đó ta chỉ tôi mới cho nên được tôi nè tôi nên được你去包那钱呢？哎，你们家一零零的，哎，这做多呢，古么 experience 普遍就能捞，古安努就能捞。แต่นู่นวันที่นะนู่นหัวแต่นู่นก็ตัวตากูไม่เอาสิแต่อย่างโยเลนั่นน่ะผู้ลี้อยู่จุดตัวเก่าผู้ลี้อยู่จุดตัวเป้าจะ minority เป้า every culture เป้าสุดเลยรุ่นนี้ผู้ลี้จีเป้าคนน้อจีเต้าผู้ลี้จีเต้าผู้ลี้ห่อโยเลนั่นนู่นมั่วพิจารณาจีเป้าในตัวนะคนน้ออย่าอยู่เก๋เลยผู้ลี้อยู่จุดสูงเดี๋ยวจุกมดจะอาตุปลีนอจะมองเจ้าจีน่ะพอเป็นมอง community ที่จุดสาวตัวที่ไทยเป็นมองตัวเย่ช่องอย่าตัวเมานะว่าจับ
John Thompson. I can remember 2016 because I was just looking at the pictures here. We were here at the East Side Library and we were discussing the same thing, post Philando Castile. We were discussing how to reform police. We even had the police chief come here and talk about training, and they had a brand new training facility right down the street from here. We also had the police chief come here and talk about, we got these new body cameras that the police, that we're paying for, by the way. So my ask, because they said to make sure you come with tangibles, is to ask the mayor and the city to stop lying to us and telling us that we don't see what we see on these videos. Because what you said, I'm supposed to see, I didn't see. I did not see a man lunge at a police officer with a knife, like you said in the media. Let's be clear. I did not see a man lunge at a police officer. And we pay for those body cam videos. We pay for those body cameras, so stop lying to us. So make sure you put that on there. Stop lying to us and trying to cover up police-involved killings. Second thing, which you said come with tangibles. We were here again in 2017, 2018, post Cordell Handy. And we were talking about the same thing. How do we better police? They need better training. We need mental health training. We need training. But we have a brand new training facility that's over $30 million right down the street from here. It's not going to ever happen. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was right here before us talking about police reform and how we fix police. They're not going to be fixed unless you eliminate the culture of racist policing and racist police officers within the police departments all across, not only this state, but all across the United States of America. And seeing that Minneapolis and Minnesota is like always the epicenter for some of the most horrific police-involved killings, you'd think that legislation and legislators would make it a priority to put police reform. I'm not going to celebrate the Crown Act. I'm not going to celebrate driver's license for all, and I'm not going to celebrate restore the vote because we should have had that a long time ago. George Floyd died 2 years ago. Now here we are again, and we're going to be here again this year. Mark my words. We're going to be here again this year until the state sees fit to stop with the PPP, and that's politicians being pumped by police unions in this state. Love you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the organization that making the meeting tonight. I'm glad that I can come here. I come from a meeting and the other meeting, so we have to make a point here. I see the room that is very inspiring, and I want to make a point that my children at home, I live in North Minneapolis, and that I tell my children that when you see something happening, please don't call the police. Let me know first,
because my concern is that we call police and they're coming not to protect, they're coming to kill. So I think there's something's wrong, and I'm telling my kid that this day is very hard to deal with the law enforcement. I do respect the law enforcement. That's a job in the community, in society. We need protection. We need protection. We need law enforcement. The thing is something wrong. I make a couple points that what I see in the video in YouTube, that I see that Xiong is not posing a threat. I think something happening in the community, something happening in the home, something happened that a lot of people had to party, that the police come in. I see that it's not de-escalate. They come in, outside. I can see that escalate, and the police come and escalate the situation, and making the situation worse. So that's one of the point. The other point I want to make that is not the last resort. I think that is not the last resort to kill. So there's an opportunity. There's opportunities to prevent the killing. That's what I see in the video. So I just make a point to support the rally, and I think that it's truly we need law enforcement to reform. We need law enforcement in society, in the community, but we need to make sure that we got protection, not to kill. Thank you.
Community was under attack, and he was a soul soldier for y'all. He's still out here. So if y'all know Xiong, when you see him, give him some applause and some love. It's good that they released the tapes, but that's just not enough. We need them to release the 911 tapes. We need them to arrest the police officers. We need some accountability, and we need it today. He doesn't get to be at home with his family, so why are these police officers at home with their families? When the tape comes out, it's going to, justify the police in some kind of way. Don't believe that. And don't stop standing just because that's what you hear.
That's right.
I'm so glad that you guys are here today. In the 1960s, there was an organization, the Black Panther movement. They started to protect our community from police violence because it had been going on since Reconstruction. 1960s. There was a sister named Assata Shakur. She is now living in Cuba because the police have her on the FBI most wanted list for taking a stand against police violence. Assata Shakur has this saying that she says, and I'm going to ask you to repeat after me, because I want us to get unified right quick. All right? Y'all ready? Ready. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another. Because we have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. I want y'all to say it from your gut, because see, chanting isn't just about yelling and disturbing the peace. It's a healing that happens in there. When you have to take that deep breath to push it out, that activates your vagus nerve. And you gotta go through some healing process if we're really gonna get through this fight, because it's not easy. Like my man said, it's slippery. You're gonna slide and there's a big elephant in the way. That is a real thing. So say it with your chest with me. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another. Because we have nothing to lose but our chains. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Those are the words.
Yeah, semua tak. Yeah, semua hati nương ra phát sợ in gì nhất đầu được luôn nè. Quân này chính cho lúm mùa nấu lợn. Yeah, semua tu share, more share, share được tất cả. Cho tôi một bộ trái yeah semua cho cái more share rồi nó. Thì chế cái này của tôi cho tôi dùng ý dạng của yeah semua nè. Yeah semua xa cho lúm tôi cho bé trồng nông. Cho dùng phơi cho chỉ hay nhất cho sản pháp phân thư. Xa cho biết cho thôi cho nhất cho họ cùng họ của gì sản. Hay tiền gì tua giả chính gian rằng 也想起到了还早点样点古着也，他还被人退掉过一生干的生，只还那样做路生子，只还那样退掉做路生子，那样也路说在早点样点，那样也路上，那样早点有我应着了的，哎也都我还别叫退掉，叫中退掉。Rau nó này tua chỉ là bé ở trong một con nó chỉ là ít tu cần đỡ tia em bé ở ít cho cái trong xe cầu em nuôi chỉ bỏ cá hay để ở ít trong món cho lúc trong em nuôi chúng bây giờ dùng thôi cho giá trong tôi phải to em nuôi con này xả ít cho con món cho ít tu nâng là chỉ ít cho lúa cho ít tu nâng ta chỉ rau nó giờ cho cái tu xe và tu tiếng sự tập cho nước tụi mình cho xe lại mà rồi nó người hai chỗ này thì cho rồi cá bên cho bây giờ thôi cho là nhóc phải to bên sẽ là cái gì thôi yên yên là nhóc ở lúc trong nó họ ta ổn định sao Asian nó của tụi mình tốt ta chỉ năng là cũng riêng giống này tôi lúc xóa cũng riêng giống này tôi lúc rồi cũng riêng giống này tôi muốn cho cái dạng này cũng như chỉ kể nên học giáo thôi cho là ta chỉ nên từ tua tàu với mình tua e hai nó tôi bây giờ thôi cho nếu tôi mùa xa cái lũ linh lớn tôi đâu cứu e nếu hai cái cuốn thì cả cứu cho là hai cái bây giờ thôi cho giờ lúc chạy sụp lúa cá chỉ muốn này tôi được bên nó
who are victims of police brutality here in the state of Minnesota and across the United States, and give yourselves a round of applause for coming out tonight and standing up against white supremacy, institutional racism in the city of St. Paul. Imagine if Xiong was white. Imagine if the St. Paul Police Department came into an elderly home and shot a 65-year-old white man. They would be under the jail right now. They would have been arrested. We know that. They would be fired and in jail right now. And that's the same type of action we want to see happen when the police kill our loved ones. If the police disrespect our elderly, we want to see the same act. We want to see it be pursued just as if it was a white elderly person.
That's right. That's right.
Just real quick, there's a couple things, and then I know Michelle will add on, but we're here to just talk about I personally think we need to get rid of the St. Paul Police Department, the Minneapolis Police Department. We need to abolish jails. We need to abolish prisons. But if we are going to keep these racist institutions, then there has to be some type of reform. So we want to end the 1033 grant program that gives money gives weapons from the Pentagon to our local police departments, and then those local police departments use those weapons on people like Xiong, peaceful protesters like myself, Tashira Garraway, CUAPB, and many others. We also want the police to carry insurance like doctors carry insurance. They don't want bad drivers on the road. We don't want bad cops on the police force. We want a database of killer cops. So if a cop kills somebody here like Mr. Yanez, they can't go down to San Antonio and become a police officer and kill somebody down there.
That's right.
So these are just a couple of measures that we want to see. We want to end qualified immunity.
That's right.
So these are just a couple of measures that we can put in place right now that will put the St. Paul Police Department in check a little bit. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
No racist.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Say his name.
Yes.
Say his name.
Yes.
Say his name.
Yes.
Say his name.
Yes.
Thank you. Hey, we look forward to seeing all of you this Sunday at the Western Police Department District at 2 p.m. sharp. Bring a friend with you. Bring your family. Bring your babies. We need all hands on deck. Justice for Xiong.
Hello everyone. My name is Tashira Garraway, founder of Family Support Families Against Police Violence. But I am most of all the significant other of Justin Tigan, who was brutally beat to death by St. Paul police August 19, 2009, and thrown inside of a trash dumpster. So I know very well how the police go about their cover-ups, can we please be respectful? I can't even hear myself talking when everyone else is talking. It's a little difficult. But to be here in this room with another family, knowing that Mr. Yia, watching that video and living my life knowing that my son's father videos was edited and a bunch of lies, and they twisted around the truth just like they did Mr. Yia when they originally said that he lunged at police with a knife, and I did not see Mr. Yia lunge at police with a knife. So I know what it's like. I work with a whole bunch of families to support them. I get to see families breaking down. I talked to Mr. Yia's sister earlier today to hear the cries of the families, to know my own pain, to hear the pain of the community. On behalf of Mr. Xiong's family. And we also ask that you join us on this Saturday, February 26th, this Sunday, February 26th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the St. Paul Police Department, Western District at 389 Hamlin.
So DJ, it's me.
For serving as our MC, and thank you again to all of you for being willing to open your pain and join us in this fight. We will have a few words from Trayvon Cruz. He is a strong organizer in the community who been on the calls with our Asian community and myself and Michelle Gross this entire week, organizing this event as well as the event for Sunday. And so he's here with us today, and Michelle Gross will quickly tell us about the demands that we have over at the Capitol to get the laws changed, the rules that have allowed this to happen. We need to get them changed because technically they're not even breaking the law right now. So we need the laws and the rules that have permitted this and allowed this type of behavior to happen, to change. So we'll have them very quickly. Thank you. Carry out this fight together. Going forward, we have to all show up. If they kill one of us, we must all show up. That saying that an injustice done to one of us is an injustice done to all of us. It's real. And we have to walk and march and believe in our hearts that an injustice done to one human being, no matter what you look like, is an injustice done to all of us as human beings. The demands that we have today for Mr. Yia. For justice to be served, Yia Xiong's family is demanding that St. Paul police officers, their names are really hard, Abraham and Nushua, be fired, arrested, and prosecuted.
Yes.
All the other St. Paul police officers on the scene should be held accountable. Why didn't they intervene? Release all the body camera footage of the St. Paul police officers who were present at the scene, as well as the transcripts of dispatch and names of all officers involved. An independent investigation of Mr. Yia's murder needs to be conducted. State Attorney General Keith Ellison should be named as the lead prosecutor to ensure an unbiased and fair trial for the officers. Yia Xiong's family is asking for a firm deadline of commitment. They do not want promises, they need action.
Yes.
Closing. Over the course of the last 2 weeks, A lot of hard work has gone into all the planning and preparation for this movement.
For us to come out of here with a plan. And we know that we have demands that the family wants. We know that you brought forward demands. We're going to compile those into a set of demands that are going to go to the St. Paul Police Chief, Axel Henry, and to Mayor Melvin Carter. But beyond that, we also need to change the way things are happening in this state. We have 9 bills at the legislature that we have had at the legislature since the day that George Floyd was killed. We haven't been able to get those bills passed. I was happy to see that we had Senator Von Herr here. We have other legislators here. And I was happy to hear the commitment to getting these bills passed, but I'm going to tell you something. Some of us have been working, excuse my language now, some of us have been working our asses off at the legislature for the last 2.5 years. Longer than that even, trying to get things to happen at the legislature, and the political will has not been there. How do we live in a state that everybody in the whole country, everybody in the whole world is looking at us because our cops are crazy, doing crazy stuff, killing people, and we haven't been able to get one single bill across the finish line? What the hell is that? So we need people to be pushing, helping us make these demands, and more particularly, going after these legislatures when they don't do what they're supposed to do. We got the trifecta now. Everybody keeps telling us, isn't it great, we got the trifecta. Well, I haven't heard one legislator tell us that our bills and that our measures to address policing are become a priority. They have better become a priority now. And you all need to keep on coming out with the community, making sure that you get on mailing lists so you know what bills are being considered at the legislature. Because right now, they're not paying attention to our bills, y'all. And then if we don't get these bills across the finish line, the conditions will continue. I want to give you an example. We got a bill at the legislature that would require them to release all body camera footage to the families within 48 hours. You know how this body camera footage got released? You know how Mr. Xiong's name got released? You want to know how the cop's name got released? We took lawsuits against the city of St. Paul. We told them, if you don't release this data, we're going to sue the hell out of you. And that's what it took. We had to actually take a lawsuit against the city to get that data released. That shouldn't have to be the case. We should be able to just get that data. You're using our tax dollars to hurt and kill us, and we have every right to expect to see that transparency.
That's right.
And so we need you all to stand with us, stand everybody together, and force these legislators to pass these bills so that we can stop police brutality and that we can know what the cops are doing and make their activities transparent. Thank you all so much. We're gonna keep you on mailing lists. You signed up, make sure you signed up. And we're going to make sure that you know what's happening at the legislature. We've got bills that need to get passed. We need to do things to make sure these families get some justice, and we need you to stand with us to do it. So thank you so much. Thank you again for being here.
My name is Matthew Emerson. In this capacity, I'm representing the Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee. I've been a part of many protests, many activisms over the last 5 years in Minnesota. And real change can happen. Real change can happen, and real leaders can also be burnt out. And so with this truth, let's take this truth. Let's take this truth. Let's review these policies, read the policies, translate the policies, explain the policies to people who don't understand. When you look at the Stop Asian Hate Bill, when you read the Stop Asian Hate Bill, all it says is give $2 million to police officers in order to document whether police hate Asians or not. That's all that the bill reads in Washington. I read it. I rewrote it in a way for a different bill, and so that's why I was editing it. And it's important that we recognize what these policies are. America is governed by law and by what happens at the House. And I mean, I have to commend the Hmong community for taking a stand, for organizing, for putting so many leaders in Congress, in the Senate. It's amazing. And we're behind you. I'm a St. Paul person. I live right on the east side. So I'm right there with you. And this is the first night of my life I have ever heard an Asian person say anything like this. So thank you all. God.
Well, Xiong. My name is Chantel Allen, and I'm the founder of Black Lives Matter Twin Cities. First of all, I want to say my condolences to the family. You know, the police system was formed just after Reconstruction when they freed the slaves. And I know a lot of y'all already know this because I know my community does their studying. But I just want to kind of reiterate this situation. They were formed as slave catchers to keep control of the poor and the black folks that were free. As more immigrants came into the country, they wanted to control them too. And that would be y'all, the poor and working class. And time again, we continue to see the police officers murder our brothers and sisters, poor and working class people of color. Black Lives Matter took a stand some years ago, and we've been fighting and in the streets and really trying to make these changes, but yet and still we keep losing our brothers and sisters. And that ain't right. You know, when we do our rallies, we have to have a kind of call and response, because that's what happens in the black community. So when I say that ain't right, I need y'all to agree with me. That ain't right. Hmong lives matter, y'all.
That's right.
Hmong lives matter. I am so glad to see this room full of my Hmong brothers and sisters that are taking a stand. For a long time, we had one brother, Xiong. I'm going to say his name out loud.
Can somebody turn on the microphone for them?
Check. Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, my name's Kong Peng Xiong, that's my name. But I am Xiong. And each and every one of you in this room is Xiong too. We're all targets, we got targets on our back. And all I wanted to say is that we need to hold the two officers, including the other officers that were along with them, accountable. They need to be locked up. And I also wanted to say that it's time, y'all. It's time for all of us to stop being in bed with the cops. Mayor, here to governor. So bây giờ là bây giờ chủ tàu sở cái là thơ là sĩ su cho nên我只要到bây海蒙bây tụ phong dư bây tụ chính giờ bây tụ giờ ba nói chỉ giờ giờ xong lửa nung chỉ giờ này nữa. Okay? Lastly, I just wanted to say we need everybody on the streets. Each and every one of y'all to be on the streets with me, with the folks that organized this. We cannot wait anymore. This is our time. So we need to abolish the police today.
Nice to see everybody here and nice to meet all you guys. I'm pretty new to this, so it's gonna be a little bit out of the ordinary. But cú sa hai ở bên lầu lùm mong rồi bên chỗ mong ok. Bên nâng nho chủ chia rồi tuổi rồi chứ. Bên tôi nho lần tu dùng lần tu bên giờ chủ cỡ lần culture. Hay tiền lần tu chưa bự phê tu chưa bự rong như tu rong đi chả. Bên đó nhà nho nhà yêu tọt bên bây giờ chủ bao tiền nhà bự đi chả nhà no đi chả nhà lì hiền đi chả. Ấy còn yêu bao prevent yêu tu khăn. Ấy yêu chế ba đầu yêu hai năng. Ấy yêu chế lì chỉ đầu tăng mạnh. Họ nói vậy họ bây giờ tôi hiểu cực họ có ở tôi bây chồng mong này tôi nhớ gì chỉ cho chồng bây giờ để tôi đầu tư lo vậy we all success we all make business and we all become millionaire we all success no for success you have the right leadership bây mong you should reform take a leadership that fight for you leadership that solve problem for you leadership that care about you, care about your future, about your life. Okay? Chỉ là cái leadership. Tôi nói họ đi theo hậu trợ theo cho bao tiền lúc chợ nó tại lúc chợ tỏ tôi lúc chợ bể sư. What kind of leadership is that? What kind of leadership is that? You have to think about it. So it's time to go back to your Hmong community and reform your leadership so that you can minimize the problem. Bây tôi nhớ tôi lúc đấy chờ nó chờ lầu tôi giữa đầu ta Your lua le che yo you tua. Now is the time for you to be leadership. You don't wait for somebody who don't know nothing. Okay? You don't wait for somebody who don't have love for you. Okay? Cho luôn nó có hai sau đây cho mình chỉ nó sẽ thì em mong yo giờ đây giờ nó bé quay dân thiên sứ là cái ok cập someday you will become somebody. Okay? Thì trong sáng nay sẽ đợi thảo và chủ phòng công mong được bé chọn mong cái nó phải nhớ đầu tiên and all the organization that comes here to support for this matter. Thank you.
Nhớ rằng cụ hùa kia cụ tua hậu còn sống hay mong tua mà nó cụ trong xe hay thì bây giờ nâng cái tin cha cũng lúc cũng sống chế nâng mong tua xin họ mà nó bây giờ tôi cái trong xe bây tôi cái tu xe nè thì giờ only bọn ta thấy những hay họ mong lại mẹ rồi nè giờ nó cụ thọ chờ đồng mong nè xử lý cụ tao hù cho mong tu chơi tu chơi mong nó mong chữ nó cho mong một sự kiện mong nhân đạo phải cho chơi nè tại vì nó sẽ chơi là sao nó cũng play sao nó thay nhau tỏ phía sao ôn nó tự là ôn nụ nó ok giống như tự là ôn nụ nó biết cho tao không đủ đó giống như ôn nó như nó tỏ phía như nó cũng playซึ่งlà chỉ vợ nó chỉ nút nó lên cho thay lên đi lúc su nó không giờ thầm đặt tự là ôn nụ đó tự là ôn nụ thì sẽ biết mua cho họ kỹ nè nút nó biết tuần chia cái gia đình đó ăn cổ già bây chỉ bao ta kỳ tới rồi lấy lúc nào lấy toán của gì là tới ta kỳ lấy tôi có tôi cũ lần tôi hiểu bao ok vì bây tôi chưa mình cả đâu này thì bây giờ hình mình nè thì của hai nó sẽ
cho trồng mong sao đó nè lúa America cũng bao nhiêu tiềnแต่สิกูจะจะให้ลวงอเมริกาตรงนี้ช่วยเดี๋ยวเขาจะจงเปล่าที่อเมริกาจงเปล่าไปจงอ๋ออย่าไปชิบ้าจะไปที่เอาตัวจงเปล่าเขาตั้งมั่งเป็นมอขอเนี่ยไปเขาที่อีอย่าไปตัวรถได้เฉยๆอย่าวิลิจ่าอย่าวิลิเสียจุดประชาชนจุดประชาชนอีน่ะจอห์นแอฟกันนี่กี่ตัวอินโวล์เรื่องจอดได้เฉยๆจัว我这边叫蒙多，也得起来做，我长得都搞白熊木桩，就我谈搞白熊木桩多，都找就是熊，白多了，白叫奇葩多，要领导叫我们用做，多一张呢，讲说哪呢，白天多差多在呢，头白多在前，我们要丢白还知道为，这些 communist， 要领导来天忙吃才搞到了猪都搞弄的还吃了路，白天的多少多在前呢，为本才是给不了的多。头多少的钱弄了，一那都容能一那都容早年的，第是讲要中国的叫อเมริกาที่叫大超的John F นี่ลามุโจ Biden ลามุโจนี่กู叫要大超被所招所得所点来老茶第样个呢，只要点楼点里老茶了，点了被老茶了，讲茶的比较茶容易呀，真的被因为。说着呢，被人莫在解释了说，要为了家叫他们乱的说，天莫家要多被去帮差，其他的呢，所以看起要好一点。你叫蒙年都叫开了玩，幕后的后叫一点，火拿，在种包了家其实都还，都蒙都种包了，这去搞都没还，你莫搞叫看了他叫那是都没种包了还搞干了，要还得在种包了天，其他可能。因为我上了之后 ，Facebook 都没蒙也是带过的，我的发搞整还来搞这搞整的，好像咱们乱呢，我那些咱们乱就发了，咱解释刚刚节目来多，搞也不提二来这多钱嘛，这么发小这股呢，都没蒙还呢，不管了路快这那样，都没蒙呀，不蒙呀，都那还是股，要领的个人要种还的种不了也被种的是好赔。chỉ cho là cái bây giờ về bây chỉ công tế bắt yêu tế hành để bây giờ trong trong tu thọ chỉ nuôi nó muốn nên mau xia công tế ở trong trong là thế tiền từ chào cho một cái gì chỉ nhận được lúc gì chào trò nữa từ yên cái gì yên cái lục bỏ để bây giờ lần từ bây giờ này trong này muốn gì thì chỉ ta phải nói sự tụi mong ta tụi nó ta chỉ suy rõ rồi bây giờ trong gì
北京段子呀，知道的，莫些呢，我中包莫些呢，古人那天被成中包，帮一帮这么家炒，被西班呢，哎我。
Hello，nhớ rồi nè, quý nhà mày Xiong, quý nhà từ County Commissioner, nhớ rồi District 6 nó. I'm Mai Chang Zhang. I get to represent District 6, part of the east side here. And nó của tôi từ Xiên cho từ 9 giờ nó núi trên này. Quý nhà từ Sài Gòn mới trong thế thì quý nhà mua Xiên từ Xiên. Yeah, was basically hunted down.
Yeah. True.
He was hunted down like an animal. Given no opportunity to respond. And he could have been my father.
That's right.
He could have been my mother. He could have been your mom or your dad, your loved ones. So we have to think about safety, what safety truly is. What gives me hope in us coming here together is that Black, brown, Asian people are coming together. Let's not wait anymore about saying, where's Black Lives Matter at? They've been there. They're tired. They need us. This is, yes. Only solidarity will change the systems here.
Yes. Yes.
We cannot rely on just the police to keep us safe. What keeps us safe is having stable neighbors, right? Having affordable housing, making sure that people have access to health care and good paying jobs. So I just want us to think that we have to think safety beyond just policing.
Yes.
And this won't be the last time. We'll not change up to Shinjili no. Gunjang to the những môi nên nhớ trong cái community nó able yo tôi gì nữa cũng những bọn nó to nên they lo là I worked on the body cam resolution before St. Paul Public Police took that on, and they fought us. They weren't ready, right? But it's because it was such a critical mass in the organizing that happened that made it happen, okay? But as you know, that's not going to save us. We need reform. And we must stand in solidarity and continue to show up. Thank you.
Okay. Rong Sha okay. Rong Sha, nó phụ cho là cho chỉ mấy số lên số tụ nó okay. Nó có ý dạng cái ta tu sát cái cầu cho bé trẻ mong okay. Cho là cho chỉ mấy số lên số tụ. Bé cho mong cho lên số lên số tụ bé bổn đồ Indo có dù cái trâu cho tôi kiến sĩ tôi à, mấy tôi phụ à bây giờ. Số tụ bé mong hạt lan chỉ pin mong chỉ lệ vì bé mong số lên số tụ họ nói chuyện của cái mong cái trong học phôi thế nào ok, của chắc lan chỉ đạo nè vì bé mong số lên số tụ bé số còn lại chỉ sử dụng giàu nè ok vì lý do của hai lên ta của cô phụ số còn lại cho clip video hạt số khó cái ta bố mong protect à rồi còn lại bé chờ là họ chờ nữa nè của sáng của bé cứ tìm mong nhau mình số ta chờ lại của nó của những tụi mong lụt cha nè ok vì tụi mong lụt cha nè luôn với nhau nó cứ tê của cô phụ mẹ mong protect thì trời lọ trời cú sáng của bé cho mong nhau mình số ta nó bé ôi nhặt lan chỉ sáng của bé số lịch số tụ bé tổ chỉnh bờ chỉnh ta nào ok họ nó bé sang một tụt làm tụt dù nè ôi giờ ta bé tổ ở bé tụ nhớ cho sau sai word class cái họ nếu sau lại tao sẽ lôi cho tôi nè lôi chỉ sai bé nào ok mà cú sáng của bé bù dạng để lôi hay tôi nè nhà ta BLM nè tao bùa tao bố cộng sản ta ok bố nhớ là lúc stay là bố chỉ giang tôi lúc tới nó nè sáng của bé nhớ chủ nó cũng như nó tại mình trông lên nhớ chủ Minnesota nó ha ok cái sáng của bé kia con này do ta học protect nó chủ tại tôi sáng của mẹ bé nè bé mong của bố ta là hay là rong nè ok do bé chỉ sử dụng mình ta lo chỉ sai bé là cái gì lên đó sao ok.
Thank you. Yes, I spoke before Emilia Rodriguez, and I've always worked with the Latino community, Spanish-speaking immigrant community. And I just want to say from my own part that my house was burglarized twice this past year. And when I called for the police, unfortunately, they could not come. And I had to do a report over the phone, which did nothing to reassure my family in our situation at either moment. So I'm a person who feels like too bad there wasn't enough police that could come out in those moments to reassure us that we mattered and we were important. And I just also want to say that having worked with immigrants from all parts of very, very, very parts of poor Latin America, I've heard so many stories of brutality of neighbor to neighbor within the family, where they kill each other with machetes, other things. And there is no police to call at all. It does not even exist. Or a phone, anything. And your maybe distant cousin who macheted everybody to death is still your neighbor, and nothing's gonna ever be done about it. So we do need police. I know that after my work, I learned these things incredibly scratched in my head. But I do want to say also that I think that on an appropriate level, you know that man should not have been killed, for having a knife, even if he did have a knife, in no shape, manner, or form. And I do want to say that the one time I went to Canada, it felt like such a different world, different country, and it's because nobody's allowed to have a gun, including the police. And maybe this is the real solution, that too many angry people have guns, and they take advantage at times of the innocent, whether it's a police officer or someone. And certainly my Latino clients were preyed upon so often because they knew that these people worked and they had cash in their pockets. And so the criminals came down on them like vultures on prey. And then they could not even take their part to speak against them. And once again,
My name is Xiong. I've been here in the state for 45 years. Next year will be my 46th year living here. I got a message to say something, I think, I believe that the police, Simple Police, they are very aggressive, they have power. And they're in uniform, the blue uniform. They have power. Once they come to you, I saw many times in my lifetime here, they have gun and they draw the gun if they flash the light on you. Remember, this happened to Xiong, it will happen to you. So all of you, we come together, we have to say something. So the police use power like abuse, screaming, very strong, and plus they had gun. So what I'm saying is we gotta work together as a community here, okay? So.
Okay. Thank you for holding the space, and we appreciate it. And Council Member Nelsie was one of my former students. My name is Brian Xiong, Dr. Brian Xiong. I'm a professor teaching race, ethnic study, and racism in America. I also have family members who are also police officers, but I just want to straight this to all the students or those who want to become police. If you work in the community, get to know the community.
That's right.
And if you work for the community to protect the community, and your excuse is, I fear for my life, then get a new job.
That's right.
This is gonna happen again. But just 2 hours before we got here, the police in Duluth killed somebody in the alley. So this is what we're talking about. We need guarantees of non-repetition that the police are going to stop killing our people. So we got a lot of work to do. And just real quick, she just left. Monique.
I'm right here.
Monique spoke earlier. Her son was killed by the St. Paul Police Department. Sheriff Garraway's here. Her fiance was killed by the St. Paul Police Department. He spoke. His family member was killed by the St. Paul Police Department. Fumi Lee and many more. So we got to stick together. We got a lot of work to do. But somebody was also killed today in Duluth by police in Minnesota. So let's stick together. We got a lot of work to do. Say his name.
Yeah.
Say his name.
Yeah.
See you guys Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we go, I wanted to show hands of Community Justice for a Year, Xiong. Can I have a show hands of you guys so that you guys know who are they? Those are among the people that are hardworking. They're working all night. I have a soul of heart people I see because these guys continuously working around the clock all the time. My phone rang in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock, and I wake up and read it like, what the heck are they doing? They're looking for justice for years. Not only for him, but for other people. And they working hard. I have never seen any workaholic like these guys before. I think I did, but I think these guys are way better than I do. So thank you so much for everybody. Thank you for your hard work for justice for year and for those that cannot be able to speak for themselves, right? That's right. Yeah. So before we go, I want to see a show of hands of how many people are going to show up on Sunday. Thank you. I will be there. I will be your chanter. I'll be your MCs. Be there. Let's shape the city of St. Paul. And let's make it go across the United States of America. This is unacceptable. So thank you so much for being here. I know that we cannot make this happen without all of you guys. And we're trying to make Sunday from the Helen. Our address, share to Facebook, share to your social media, share to everywhere you can so that everybody can see it. And we will see everybody on Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Western Police Station on Hamlin and really close to University. And finally here, we cannot be able to make this work. We do need donation. If you have any donation, please donate it to help us. Without you guys, we cannot be able to do it. We need the manpower, we need the funding powers to make this happen. Thank you so much. And I know it's cold. Please drive safe. I will see you guys on Sunday. Make sure you be there, or I will come to find every single one of you.